I'm about to whip somebody's ass. Oh, I'm about to whip somebody's ass. Oh, if you don't leave me alone, you're gonna have to send me home, 'cause I'm about to whip somebody's ass.
Meet the Pressers with Matt Mallory and Vinroe. Brought to you by Public Safety and Education and the Trigger Pressers Union.
Meet the Pressers is brought to you by Mantis X. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Next Level Training. Makers of CERT training products. Saber Red. Saber Red has been making men and women cry since 1975. Meet the Pressers is also brought to you by these fine companies, shows, and organizations. Thank you.
Welcome to Meet the Pressers. I'm Matt Mallory, and this is
Klint.
This is a safe place to talk about guns, gear, political activism, and products.
We're here at the 2024 NRA annual meeting in Dallas, Texas, and I'm here with fellow Pennsylvanian Jordan Vinroe. He's the owner of Gideon Optics and PR Triggers and Patmos. So tell us about yourself. How you doing, man? And what brought you to this point in your life?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Great to be on the show. We're here with Gideon Optics today, displaying some of our currently available product, and we have some new prototypes that we'll release here towards summer. So we're excited to show everybody here at NRA 2024.
So what got you into doing optics?
We kind of look for different niches in the industry and try to find examples of product that we can throw our flavor on and kind of add some extra to. So optics is kind of where we landed right now. We have a great supplier, so we've kind of full throttled into that this year.
Cool. How's the QC process work?
Sure. So it gets QC'd before we get it, and then once we get it, each and every optic that we ship out gets tested by humans in our warehouse. So they put a battery in, they test the parallax and everything, make sure everything looks good, the brightness of the optic, the 10 settings of brightness, the reticles, make sure everything's lined up and square inside the optic. So yeah, it gets tested several times before it leaves our facility.
Lots of trigger pulls.
Yeah, lots of trigger pulls.
So
that's pretty cool.
Which model has been like the most popular up to this point?
So that would be the Omega here. It's kind of our competition window right now. So it's a large round window, red or green. You can get a 3 MOA dot or a circle dot. So depending on what you like, but that's been our top seller at the moment.
Okay, what kind of clientele has been picking these up? Has it been a wide variety, or I know you have a loyal fan base from the gun builders call it community, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Tons of gun builders come back and pick up some of the product, but we do have a wide range of clientele. So we're inexpensively priced. We're affordable, so your everyday shooter can pick one up, and you're not spending twice as much on a new gun to get a quality optic. So.
Yeah.
What's that price window? You said inexpensive in that sense. What's that price window?
Sure. So it's about $189 up to about $250 for all of our red dot products,
that is a
and
great
then
price.
some of our LPVOs, which are new to market this year as well. We're about $400, give or take a little bit, depending on what features we add in there.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
That's great pricing.
Yeah, excellent. So one thing I wanted to talk about is I recently had the opportunity and honor to be part of the Gunmakers match, we held it in Monroeville, actually North Versailles.
Yeah.
You've been doing that since the beginning, right? What got you into doing that? How did that first come about? I mean, obviously I know your other company with Patmos is built around building guns. What was the genesis of the Gunmakers match?
Sure. So that's where we started. That's where Jordan started in the gun industry, was providing parts for gun builders.
That's cool.
I like to tinker with stuff like everybody else in this industry, basically. So we kind of got our feet wet there, and then along the way we met up with Rob Pincus and Edgar and Guns for Everyone, and we were looking for different sponsorship opportunities, and it's kind of a very niche area of the industry, the home building, and we saw that and thought this is a great opportunity to get out and see a lot of our clientele and customers and builders and see what they want, see what we can provide them, and just see some of the product that we've brought to market in use at a competition.
Yeah, the whole gun building thing has been fascinating to me, and I bought my first 3D printer after you had interviewed Mr. Snow.
Yep.
And he made some suggestions on there, and I wrote it down while I was cutting the episode together, and I went out and bought my first printer and made my first lower, and it looked like someone's beard. Yeah, the supports, man, I've been having trouble with the supports, but after 15 tries, I finally got one, and it worked, and I was fortunate enough to come in second place in the staff match.
In the staff match,
And just to be clear, there was only 3 people competing in that, so I don't want it to sound too huge. But,
But my shout out to Mr. Snow. He's been a champion in all aspects of the gun makers.
Oh
match,
yeah, absolutely. He's crazy, man. He's a good shooter too.
I got to get a printer.
It's a lot of fun.
I mean, gun building has been one of our traditions as Americans since before there was a country. And the fallacy that someone can go and make a gun is truly a fallacy. There's a lot of art that goes into it. The guys that are more skilled and have been doing it a long time probably can make one quicker than I can. But one of the things I told, working with a lot of politicians and trying to sway them towards the side of liberty, it's like, hey, we did this match. I was involved the last 2 years, and there were hundreds of people came from all over the country with these 3D printed guns, and no one got hurt, no crimes were committed, no ghosts were harmed, and it was just a great time of fellowship, man. And the innovation too. Some of the guys with those rifles with magnets as recoils systems, very, very cool. So one of the other products you have is the triggers. You want to talk about the triggers?
Sure. So we have PR Triggers is another brand of ours. It is right now set up for a Glock, is a pull release trigger. So it'll shoot when you pull the trigger, it'll shoot again when you release the trigger. So that's been out for a little while now. That's a lot of fun. We like to have a lot of fun. So we have the Optics, that's a great product, but the PR Trigger is the one that's like, oh, we get to test this one again today. Let's see what we did here. And that one we have a lot of fun with.
It was just now that I realized why it's called PR Trigger.
Yeah.
I just figured that out when you explained it.
Me too.
We're not very creative. So.
It's pretty creative.
I was trying to think, what's PR? Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, pull release.
Got it.
Yeah.
So what's new on the horizon? I mean, you're an entrepreneur. You expand your business constantly. What's the next endeavor you're going to get into?
We actually just talked about it on the car ride home last night. So we don't have anything picked out yet, but I'm sure that we will find something. We're always innovating or trying to innovate in the space we're already in, so we're going to add some more unique features that maybe not everybody has, or maybe we're the only one that has it at this point. But yeah, we're always looking for the next thing. So with all of our gun shows, we're looking to expand there. We own a couple different promotions across the country. So we like the gun space, the 2A segment. We like the community. The fellowship, like you just said, is great. You see guys and girls from all over the spectrum of political spectrum and financial, walks of life. So we get to see it all, and it's really been a great 10, almost 11 years now for me. So
that's great.
Cool.
Out of PA.
Out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. By Pennsylvania.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah. Or New York, if you're watching from New York.
Yeah.
Because we need all the help.
If you're
in New
allowed.
York.
Yeah.
Oh,
you're allowed to watch in New York?
Yeah, you can't even look. Don't even look.
But it's funny you say that, because the printers, they actually have a bill going forward to ban 3D printers in New York.
Yeah. We had one recently in Pennsylvania that you're going to actually, by the way the law looks, you would have to get permission to buy an oil filter. Yeah, ridiculous.
Nice.
Ridiculous. But this legislative session, it's very unlikely that those things would even come up to a vote in the Senate. But Pennsylvanians, you need to get out and vote for the best candidate and make sure that you do vote, because not voting is voting for the winner. And we need to win back those seats in the House and maintain that majority in the Senate.
So true.
And then maybe a couple years we can take the governor back. Who knows? Yeah. But if every gun owner in Pennsylvania went out and voted gun, we would not have the problems that we have. And I think that's true in every state.
That's
Same
true.
in New York. Yeah, absolutely.
It's nationwide.
Yeah,
nationwide
for sure. So how do people check you out, learn more about you, buy your products?
Yeah, GideonOptics.com, Gideon Optics on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, PRTriggers.com, all the socials.
Cool. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you for coming on the show,
man.
So much. It's a real pleasure and honor.
Guys.
You bet.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Stay safe.
Hey, Matt, would you do the honors?
Absolutely. So if you don't know this guy, you should. Chuck Liddell, MMA fighter, the OG in MMA fighting. Sir?
How you doing?
It's a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So what's new in your travels, and what do you got going on coming up now that you're retired? Sort of.
Sort of. I'm raising my kids. I try to stay home a little bit for that, but I travel quite a bit doing different speaking engagements. I work with people. I still train with some of the fighters when I get a chance. That's always still fun. I still like teaching.
Good.
But just having a good time.
Yeah, the teaching aspect must be awesome. Like football players, you see them retire and then they go into teaching or commentating and stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah, I know it's always fun to pass on something. I like working with guys that are getting ready for fights, because if I can pass on something that I do a little different, or I can show them something, a fine point to something they're doing, that helps them do it. And they actually get watching me in a fight. I'll see, show them that. I can learn that from me.
You're Chuck Liddell, right?
Yes, sir.
Can I? Nice to meet you, buddy. I love you.
Nice, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's fun to watch a guy, do something I showed him.
So now, when did you start in MMA? When did you start your career?
My first fight was '97. My first fight my first fight in the UFC was '98. I got my first real, and then I fought again down in Brazil, '98. So that was the bare knuckle.
Bare knuckle
30 minutes. 30 minutes, one round.
Wow.
1 30-minute round.
130. Yeah, that's 30 minutes. Bare knuckles is a lot.
So MMA is really commercial now, but at the time when you guys started, it was relatively new when you first got into the business, right?
UFC 17 was my first one. So we were still trying to learn how to train it, teach it, how to coach, how to fight, how to get ready for fights. And so it's really in the beginning of the sport, one advantage that I had. I came from a martial arts background and a wrestling background, and then I had to learn jiu-jitsu. Because usually you had to come in here, striking, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu, right? So those three elements kind of mixed together. We were trying to figure out how you mix it together. Most guys were coming in at that time with one and then trying to add the other two. And for me, I came in with two and was trying to add one. Right. So it was fun.
Well, it's good that you came in with the two.
They came in with I was one of the first guys to start using my wrestling to actually stand up and strike. And I like to strike. That's where I thought I could finish fights the best. So that's where I wanted to be. So I just used my wrestling to stay up and count it. And I had guys that I wrestled that if we had in a straight wrestling match, that wrestled me. But if they got to worry about me hitting them on the way in,
they're a little more apprehensive.
It gave me a little bit, that little stutter step, that little extra half a second to make that adjustment. Made it real hard for me to take me down.
Yeah, they're cautious.
I'm guessing we're close to the same age-ish. One of the first things that I saw when I was a kid was Rocky III, when the wrestler was fighting the boxer, and I thought, wow, what an interesting idea if people with different disciplines came into it. And add in the martial arts, that's pretty much what you do. It's a mix of all those different disciplines.
Yeah, it just had all, and it was a great thing that happened for martial arts in general. I think some of the martial arts got stuck in you can't change this, you can't add stuff to your art, you can't. This guy said, hey, look, you gotta learn a little bit of everything. If you can't stop a guy from taking you down, what use are your strikes? If you can't stop a guy from submitting you, what use is your wrestling?
Right.
If you're going to take a guy down, he's just going to arm you or choke you out. What's the point of doing that?
Sure.
So it kind of made the martial arts evolve.
Do you find instructing younger, we'll call them kids because they're younger than us, right?
We're all kids now.
Right. When you're instructing these kids, do you find in business where people have a hard time finding good employees or people with work ethic? I'm assuming in your industry of MMA, they're probably more driven and more focused, but maybe not as much as you were back in the day because it's a different breed.
It's different. There's a little bit of different stuff, but I think a lot of times you're looking at guys that are coming from sports where they excelled at. They were a good athlete to begin with. By the time they get to me, they were a good athlete to begin with.
Already focused. So I usually work with guys at this point. I'm really working with guys that are already fighting. Nice.
Okay.
So I don't have a gym anymore. So I don't really have where I'm there every day. And I have guys starting from the beginning. And even then, I usually when at my gym, I like other guys to teach, get them ready to hear, and then I'll work with them when I get here.
They're a little more open and receptive to the content.
And they're ready. You know, they're ready to learn that. So
Next level.
And it's like, you know, I always said I don't want to have to teach you to be mentally tough. You don't show up mentally tough, like I don't have the time or waste that time.
Yeah.
Now, as I'm being a dad, having kids, I've done a lot more studying on how to train that, get guys to be more, and kind of get that kind of instilled in my guys. But for the most part, you know, I'm blessed that I work with guys that they want to fight. They're already fighting. So they, you know, you don't have, we run into that problem where you're dealing with guys that aren't motivated or don't have a work ethic.
Yeah, that's good.
To get there, they've already got that. So
They got that drive.
Have you ever been asked, or have you ever delved into just training average citizens to use some of these skill sets as defensive skills?
I've talked about it, talked to them, and I've had people talk to me about it, but I haven't really got deep into it. But, you know, I'm interested. I like working, and I'm always want to work with like the law enforcement guys and guys who are working on anything that can help them, you know, defend themselves when they're out there.
You know, it made me think when you said that is Alfonso Getty's street dancing. Remember that from back in like the 90s, where like he did the Fresh Prince, and then he ended up doing this like release the disc, like teach people how to break dance from their home.
That's awesome.
Chuck Liddell's MMA from your living room or something.
That's great.
Well, maybe that's a market you haven't tapped.
There you go.
Maybe.
You got the following, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Anything on the horizon that you want to release on the show and kind of like let the cat out of the bag? Anything?
I haven't got anything huge coming up. I'm working on a few things. We'll see what happens.
Cool.
You know, I don't want to start anything until I
Want to jinx it?
don't want to jinx it. I'm working on a few things. I'm having a good time. We got those alcohol videos I've been doing now. It's kind of fun. Just doing reaction videos on Instagram and on YouTube. I think it's kind of funny. It's just having a good time with different guests and watching fight, like crazy fights.
So I don't know if you remember, it was about 3 years ago when we first met. It was the USCCA's Shindig.
Yeah.
And just before that, I saw a video on the internet where you had a guy by the head and he was trying to punch you.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be funny to walk up to you and go, "Hey Chuck, can I hold your head and you try to punch me?" And you were like, and I was like, oh, I pissed him off.
Well, you did piss me off. But
I know.
Yeah,
It was funny.
It was funny. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's funny. I ran into him again recently, so it's cool.
Cool. Well, we really appreciate you coming on and spending a little time with us.
Yeah, thank you for your time, sir.
Stay safe. There's lots of sponsors that make this show possible, like Mantis.
Check them out and give them your business.
Meet the Pressers is brought to you by Mantis X. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Next Level Training. Makers of CERT training products. Saber Red. Saber Red has been making men and women cry since 1975. Meet the Pressers is also brought to you by these fine companies, shows, and organizations. Thank you.
Watching Meet the Pressers.